But it's good. I like the order. I'm glad that this not right now, but my second round really, I like to be like, really like slept off
Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to CSC Portland. I'm Patrick Short, I'm co-owner and general manager here, and very happy to have you here on a lovely sunny Sunday night. Aaron and I have been happy to help you at the door and with concessions, and you can certainly do that through most of the night if we're in the in-between the students. If you want to run back and get a beer, get a wine, get a cider, get a Rolo, get a Red Vines. Get very expensive Creole chocolate for $10 a bar. Ecuadorian chocolate made here in Portland. Phenomenal. Worth every penny. All right, cool. Couple things before we get started tonight. First, by being here, you agreed that your image may end up on the interwebs as part of the stream where we are, just realized I don't have the camera pointed on me right now. So, Aaron, could you go pick up that remote and hit 0? And then it's going to suddenly come, we'll say hi to everybody on Zoom. It also goes to YouTube, and there will occasionally be audience shots. So, there you are. By being here, you agree to that? We agree?
Yes.
Awesome. If you don't, we're happy to give you your money back and send you on your self-guided tour of Northwest Portland. Awesome. Also, this is a student showcase. These are students. And this is not a heckling place. If you want to heckle, tell me. Go outside. You can heckle me for a while and you can see what 36 years of improv does as I handle that. So, yes, I have some A-bomb lines, and I don't want to use them in here. I'll use them outside. So we're here to support, yes? Yes! Awesome. So, cool. That's great. Another thing is, your comic might be, the person you came to see might be fairly early in the evening, and unless you're having a medical emergency or other emergency, we really would appreciate you staying for all 6. It's 6 comics tonight, yes? You don't want to miss them, and it kind of makes them feel like crap if you walk out during their set. Yes?
Yes.
Here to support, yes?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. We do classes here, and about 2 years ago we started doing stand-up classes again after a long hiatus with Carl Wolfson suddenly became available, and Carl has a 43-year career in stand-up touring. We argue about that number. He's also been on the radio here in Portland hosting shows on KPAM and KPOJ and Air America. He's a wonderful, wonderful person, phenomenal teacher. If you're a student here, can you just yell and say how great Carl is? Yeah, okay, good. I expect you guys to do that. Awesome. So, Carl will be hosting tonight. Please give it up for our teacher and host, Carl Wolfson.
Thank you, sir. How about hand for Patrick Short? Give him a round of applause. 30 plus years they have been doing improv and comedy here. Give it up for them. That's amazing. And thanks for coming out on a rainy Sunday. And I know you're here to, most of you here to see family, friends, right? Yes. Wow, with that kind of love, they're going to do great. Yeah, I know Jeff O'Malley's here because the the drunks are out. That's good.
We're
Yeah,
ready.
the Jeffettes are all here. Jeff is terrific. In fact, all the folks are terrific tonight, and I'm really proud of the work they've done in the last 7 or 8 weeks to make this. I've been actually doing this for a long time. It's my 45th year doing stand-up, truly, and very, don't applaud, I feel so old as it is. I appreciate it. I am nostalgic. You know, I've been thinking a lot about it. I was on Alan Thicke Show, Thick of the Night, every week in '83 and '84, and Alan passed away suddenly. I was on Joan Rivers every month, and Joan passed away suddenly. I kind of wish I'd been on The Apprentice, but just get the barometer of the crowd. I have to still play places where Trump is very popular. I try to make it work for me. I was in Richland, Washington, 2016 when he started running, and I went out for breakfast. So my waitress had a big Trump button on in Richland. It's like, okay, you know. So I had my breakfast, and she brought me back the check, and I handed the check back to her and said, Mexico will pay for it. So ate free all week. That's a good thing. Have to go to some really conservative places. Deep South, anyone from there? Anyone from the Deep South? Yeah, oh, you've answered yes to everything tonight. That beer is working well for you. Yes! Where are you from?
Atlanta.
Where?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Well, Atlanta's an oasis, you know, right?
Yeah.
Atlanta's pretty
Like
liberal. Like Portland, right? You know, I was in the Deep South, Pamplona, Alabama, for the running of the Rednecks, and it was... thank you for laughing. I was gored by their sharp intellect. I have, we have one family member who's down in the South. She's a Trumper, Aunt Fern. She's 95, and she's a pain in the ass anyway. You know, she's always complaining nobody ever calls her. So I got her one of those "How am I driving?" bumper stickers. You're gonna get that one on the way home, folks. I guarantee you. Going to kick in at one place. You know, they even had gay Republicans in the South. Figure that out. How is that possible? They used to call them log cabin Republicans. Now they're just LGBTQAnon. That's what they are. You guys ready for a great show tonight? I want to have my students take the stage, and I always like to have one student as old or older than me. So he's just terrific. We've had a fun time with him. He has a wonderful perspective on life and puts it into his comedy. Please welcome Ed Long, ladies and gentlemen. Ed, bring him up. And well dressed too.
There you go, Ed.
Carl Wolfson.
Thank you, Carl. Youngster. Wow. I'm just so glad you're here. I really am, because we have a whole lot of work to do tonight. One of the things, one of the more experienced students told me is that at the showcases like this, Carl often puts the very best student first. I want you to know that that's not the case. Carl put me up here first, actually, because I'm usually in bed by this point. I truly am the oldest student in class, and it's okay. Most of the students are quite respectful. I got such a kick the other day. A couple of them, they had this app on their phone that they were sharing with each other. It's an app where you take a selfie, and then it shows you what you'll look like when you're old. I don't need no stinking app. I've got a mirror. I've done some serious presenting over the years, and they tell you as a serious presenter, always start out with some comedy. Serious comedy. So this is supposed to be comedy. So I'm going to start out serious. I want you to know that we have to talk about mental health. My mental health, my hang-ups. Now, we all have hang-ups, you know, things that kind of mess us up in the world. I'm not really bragging, but I actually have more hang-ups than a telemarketer. 3 of my top hang-ups are frugality, perfectionism, and punctuality. 3 big ones. Now you might say, Ed, with all those hang-ups, you should get therapy. And I might say, well, that was kind of personal. But you'd be right. You'd be right. I should get therapy. But now that you've made it personal, let me ask you a question. Clap your hands if you or anyone you know has had therapy. It's a great audience. Welcome to Portland. My therapist tells me that Portland is a therapy goldmine. So I've had therapy, okay? And so you go in and you tell the therapist your hang-ups. They listen, they nod. Maybe after a while you feel better. The problem with therapy is it is so damn expensive. So I do stand-up instead. Stand-up is free therapy. Here's the deal. I get to tell you my problems. Okay? You listen, maybe you nod, and maybe when we're done, you help me feel better. The really great thing about this, you don't charge me. So it's free. Okay? Now, my wife, Patty, who is in the audience tonight because I was able to get her a free ticket, is very frugal. Okay, so frugal's part of our stuff. One of the great things is I'm not going to worry about your credentials as therapists. Okay, as long as you don't charge me. But if you bill me, I'm going to report you to the licensing board. Okay? So I mentioned my wife Patty, love of my life. We've been married 55 years. Yeah. And she's incredible. She's put up with this for 55 years. Patty is frugal. She's also a wonderful cook. Every Saturday night for the last few years, we've had a wonderful new rice dish. And she says it's no big deal because every Saturday afternoon, she goes around the local churches and sweeps up the wedding rice. How many of you have kids? Oh, okay, lots of people. Well, you know, it's really expensive to feed a child. It's really expensive. Well, you know those international relief agencies that will feed a child for $1.26 a day? Well, Patty signed her son up. So, Patty's frugal, I'm frugal. Frugal Patty, frugal Ed. It's a marriage, you might say it's a marriage made in Walmart. I'm frugal about things like parking. I hate valet parking. It's expensive. And one ding, and they could total my 2004 Camry. I've got friends who think parking kitty is really nice. I adore free parking. But with parking kitty, by the way, those of you that use it, is it safe to use it at a dog park? Gasoline worries me too. Walking over here tonight, we went by the Chevron station over here on 21st. I was delayed because of this. So a woman pulls in there, and she's going to buy gas for $1.20 a gallon more than we pay at Costco. Well, this woman obviously needs help. So I took out my phone and called Portland Street Response. They came and, you know, they acted like I was the one with the problem. We've got a lot of work to do. Let's talk about punctuality. Did you know that 40.3% of American adults are perfectionists. Did you know that? They're out here. They're all around. I'm a perfectionist. One of the things that Carl told us in the first class is that stand-up is a place to make mistakes. Perfectionists hate to make mistakes. So I'm up here. Thank God for Valium. Where did my perfectionism come from? You therapists, you know that a lot of people blame their parents for all their problems, right? Mine did. I'm not going to blame my parents. My parents, well, maybe a little, because when I was 4 years old, my parents turned me over to a cult. It was the Sisters of St. Joseph. And from the age of 4 and through high school, I was raised by nuns. Now nuns, you may or may not know this, but nuns, at least the Sisters of St. Joseph, have these perfectionist mantras that they train their students with. They kind of tattoo them into your soul. Now, some of them may have been tattooed into your soul, so we're going to do a little test tonight. I'm going to ask you to fill in the blank. Pretend I'm Sister Mary Perfecta, and please fill in the blank for me, okay? So the first fill in the blank. Practice makes perfect. Oh, you're good. Anything worth doing is worth doing? Right. Yeah, well, or right. Full credit for both. Here's the toughest one of all. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is? Yes. Okay, those of you that got all three are clearly in the 40.3%. The nuns really didn't spend all of their time working on perfecting us. They also spent time telling us Bible stories. The most amazing stories. Water into wine, walking on water, raising Lazarus from the dead, loaves and fishes. Some people say those stories are kind of poppycock, but I know they're true because I looked them up in the Bible. My favorite story of all of them is the virgin birth. Maybe you know it. Jesus, this is how he came about. Mary and Joseph engaged, Virgin Mary. Angel Gabriel comes down. Mary's now pregnant. Jesus shows up 9 months later. It's an amazing, incredible story. I was thinking, how could it be even more incredible? What if it happened in the year 2000? So, baby Jesus is born in the year 2000. That means he's Gen Z. Okay? He obviously doesn't look like Joseph. So, Joseph's mom immediately demands a paternity test. Imagine sorting out those results with Gabriel and everything. It's a big deal. Think of the headlines, okay? Nazareth woman has child from Angel Gabriel. Pretty good. Here's the one that's, I think, got the most passing on across the interwebs. Jewish mom thinks son is God. So, Gen Z Jesus, he's in his early 20s now. He's got a posse. He's got a posse. He's four young guys. They're kind of cocky. They got beards. I know their names. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and don't tell me. Don't tell me. Starts with J. Judas. I think he's got to watch that fourth guy. Okay. He's a killer in the business arena. So his water into wine vineyards is slaughtering $3 Chuck. His human fertility business is prolific. He calls it Gabriel Visits. And he's combined all of the financial institutions around the world under one umbrella called Jesus Saves. He's got, you may have heard his podcast. He has the podcast that is at the very top of the charts week after week. And it's a question and answer thingy. And I didn't want to get it wrong, so I've got the transcript here, and I'm gonna read just 3 of my favorite questions and answers. And besides, I'm old, I get to sit down. So, question. Jeff in Seattle asks, does Jeff Bezos truly have more money than God? Jesus responds, God does not release financial information, but would if running for political office. Francis in Rome asks, what is God's favorite religion? Jesus says, God is more into sports. God loves Frisbee, and as you may have heard, he's an avid bowler. It's not just angels. Jamie in New York City asks, does God truly help those who help themselves? And the answer is, sometimes. But a diversified investment portfolio is a better path to financial success. See JesusSaves.com. I'm looking forward to next week where he's going to answer the question from Melania in Mar-a-Lago who asks, who is God's gift to women? Well, that's perfect. We've still got time for punctuality. I grew up in the Northeast, spent the first half of my life in the Northeast. People in the Northeast are pretty punctual, and we were taught it's just kind of a point of being respectful to other people. And then we moved to Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles I learned, because I was still punctual, that if you're punctual and you show up on time, you're the only one who's there to notice. I learned about and met in Los Angeles the Ish people. The Ish people, you set lunch at noon. You're going to meet them for lunch at noon. They show up at 12:30, 12:45, which they call 12 or noon-ish. Okay? Now, this was really hard to deal with because it happens all the time. And it was actually hurtful. It's like you say to someone, I love you, and they say back, later, dude. It's really hurtful. But I try to be respectful of the Ish people. So when we have lunch, I don't hold it against them. Except if it's someone who's kind of been half hour, 45 minutes late, I really start to get a little worried. They may have an innocent learning disability, but if they're that late that often, I think that maybe at the end when the check comes, I'm going to say, I left my wallet home. Okay? Now that's a little passive aggressive. And we don't have time for that problem tonight. I do have to tell you, wonderful, kind, gentle therapists, that our time is up for tonight. I want to thank you. You've listened. You've not charged me. And I actually do feel better. So, one last thought for you, please. As you leave, please stop at the front desk and schedule next week because we have a lot of work to do. So, thank you.
Ed Long, ladies and gentlemen. Come on! Ed. Ed Long, where's Patty? Oh, give Patty a round of applause. She's been great. Are you really cheap, Patty? You are cheap? Not cheaper than my dad. Yeah, my dad invented the limbo trying to get into a pay toilet. My father. 55 years though. Give it up. Come on, Patty and Ed. And I have to brag that my husband and I, Gary, are celebrating our 27th anniversary this year, which is, see, that's about 55 in straight years, I would think. Just guessing, I don't know. Gary's he's in better shape than me. He actually climbed Mount St. Helens, which I thought was cool. I was inspired. Next day I made it halfway up Mount Tabor. My Sherpa quit. I don't know. You just can't get a good Sherpa anymore in Portland. Now, I will say, even after 27 years, not 55, the dinner conversations aren't as sparkling as in the early days, right?
Yeah.
You guys, a couple of weeks ago, we're eating, and Gary says, "Is there anything worse than hard butter?" I'm thinking, genocide? You guys ready for our next act? I love Ed starting out the show. This woman's going to continue the cavalcade of comedy. Please welcome Jennifer Trumney, ladies and gentlemen. Jennifer!
Wow, what a nice looking crowd. I'm biased on a few of you here, but other than that. So I was really, really nervous to do this, very scared. And my first thought was, why am I scared? I've been scuba diving with sharks. I've driven cross country. I went to law school at 48 and took the bar at 51. And now what everybody just decided is, I know a good lawyer joke. So I'm going to get it out of the way, so you can have it now. How many lawyers does it take to wallpaper a room?
How many?
One, if you slice him really thin. So I was going to talk a little bit about fear and phobias. Some people are claustrophobic, don't like small spaces. Some people are, scared of crowds, scared of the dark, pretty common things. Then there's those irrational phobias. I have a friend that said she would never learn to scuba dive because she was sure if she went to take a scuba diving class, she would get pregnant. It's like, Sarah, I don't understand this. Why? And she goes, well, because I signed up for the class twice, and I have 2 daughters. I don't think that has anything to do with the scuba diving. Another friend was absolutely sure if she went scuba diving, she was going to die in a cave. Krista, just don't go in the cave. No problem. What if a shark chases me there? They're not going to chase you. I have a really irrational fear. And most of my friends and family know this. I have this fear that I'm going to fall off of a ladder, lay there unconscious or dead, and a cat is going to eat my face. I don't know where this came from. I don't know if I saw it in a movie, read it in a book, something. But I have friends, usually the ones who live closest to me, that if I have to change a light bulb or do something on a ladder, I text them. I'm climbing a ladder. If you don't hear from me in 15 minutes, please come check. So far they haven't had to, but the reply I get is, it's the cat thing, isn't it? But here's the crazy thing. I don't have a cat. Don't know where it came from. So last night was my dad's 84th birthday. So I had everybody over for dinner. I channeled my inner Martha Stewart, had the whole table set out, did everything. There was no Snoop Dogg involved. It's a very conservative family. And so I had dinner, and at the end of dinner, my brother said, so Dad, do you have any words of wisdom for us? And my dad is a great guy. Couldn't come up with anything last night, but I'm going to share a few of the things Dad has said throughout the years. So one of the main things he would say, because his dad said it to him, was when you'd be leaving to go somewhere, instead of saying drive safe, Dad would always say, the bridges are slick. Okay, so that meant it could be July and sunny out, go somewhere, the bridges are slick, be careful. Nice way to say it in front of your friends. His other big thing he said, which is super relevant right now because we've got March Madness going on, and we even have a little tribute to it. I don't know if you can see this on the floor, but I feel like I need to go in for a layup here in a minute. Except for I'm not that agile, and right before I came up here, my boyfriend said, that stage looks slippery. So that's on my mind, which is probably to keep me from walking around a lot. But, so his other thing, what he'd say, play defense. Anytime we went anywhere, play defense. Now to my brother, that meant don't get in a fight, don't get your wallet pickpocketed. To me and my sister, it was don't let that boy touch you. So that was his way of doing it. The other thing Dad would always say is, it's the little decisions you make in life that make the biggest impact. And I'm going to switch that up a little bit, and it's those little decisions you make that create experiences. Okay? So, 1, you get married. If you're like me, you get to experience divorce. Another one, if you have children, you get to experience a lot of tuition. I had kids when I lived in Las Vegas, so when they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, they're wrong. Because one of them's sitting right out here. She's still following me around 30 years later, which is entirely okay. She came to watch her mom do this. So there's another decision. I decided to take a comedy class, and now you all get to experience suffering through it. So other little decisions. I decided I needed an Irish Terrier. And I now have 2. I have Gilly, sweet dog, 8 years old, and I have Rogue. Rogue was a rescue. I flew to St. Louis, picked him up, drove back cross country. He's a sweet boy. April Fool's Day I got him. My family's very into April Fool's Day. I didn't tell anybody I was getting this dog until I started sending them pictures on April Fool's Day. Gilly's got a brother. Nobody would believe me. It was the best reverse April Fool's Day joke. Here's Rogue in front of the Welcome to Montana sign. Here's Rogue in front of the Welcome to Wyoming sign, all the way across the country. His name wasn't Rogue when I got him. I named him that. I shouldn't have named him that. I should have named him Daisy or something really calm and sweet, because Rogue is a rogue. Rogue's 27 pounds and can clear my 6-foot wood fence. I added coyote rollers to roll him back in the yard. He figured that out. He goes over, I had to add another 18 inches of fences on it. And then he brings me gifts. So lately my gifts have been dead birds, dead squirrels. 4 o'clock in the morning, both dogs are whoa, 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 whoa. They talk to me. I'm like, what is going on? Go out in the living room, and there's a possum. Now the possum is, just let you know, my dogs don't think that pillows or blankets belong on the couch, so every morning I put all the pillows and blankets back on the couch, and they disappear during the day. So I walk out there, and there's pillows on the floor, and there's a blanket, and there's a possum with its head on a pillow and a blanket covering it. I did take a picture because I thought nobody is ever going to believe me. And there are people in this room that have seen that picture, they know it's true. So I've got this little possum, and I look out there at 4 o'clock in the morning. Is that one of their stuffed animals? No, I don't think that is. I put the dogs in the bedroom, I'm out there, and I grab the corner of the blanket, start pulling it off, and the possum goes. He's not dead, he's playing possum, it's what they do. So then I get to get the possum out of the house. So I grab a shovel, scoop him up, and he's big. This big. He's falling off the shovel. And it's not like peas. You can't like scoot it on to the edge of it, using a little piece of bread or anything. So I get this possum and I'm dragging him 40 feet down the hallway to go out the front door. Get about halfway there, 2/3 of the way there, and there's a table. He jumps off, goes under the table. I'm like, oh, come on, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, my door's open, minimally dressed. Gotta do this, so I scoop him up again, drag him the rest of the way. He hops out, goes behind the door. I'm like, seriously, possum, just go outside. That's what you're supposed to do. So I have this possum in my house, 4 o'clock in the morning. Get him out of the house, he's done. So then the dogs are on patrol the rest of the night because they know I've stolen their friend. That was their buddy. They were hanging out with him. They made him a little bed on the floor. So that's what happens. Get a dog, little decision, big experience at 4 o'clock in the morning. So another little experience I had, I made a decision long ago and far away, work in hotels. So I went down to Southern California, this was before meeting my husband. I guess I should say the husband, because he's not around anymore. So I go down to the hotel, working there, and it's the training camp for the Raiders. So I get to meet all of the football players, do all of that stuff. And we also had this giant football field, which I got to book as the home for the Fuji blimp. So I got to drive the blimp one day. Now here's the cool thing, at the time, I'm driving the blimp. You know, it's not that exciting. You go like this, and it goes. It's not like you're gonna crash. But we're coming back into the hotel, and they say, hey, do you want to call down to the front desk, have your friends come out and watch you drive the blimp? And I'm like, yeah, how are we gonna do that? Well, we have a cell phone. Well, nobody had cell phones then. So at the time, now think about this as you tap your pocket and try to figure out if your phone's on silent. I didn't know what was cooler, driving the blimp or talking on a cell phone. It's probably a really good thing that Elon Musk did not get both options, because then we'd have these giant blimps all over the place instead of little electric cars. So, I just completely drew a blank. So I'm just going to tell you all to have a good night, and remember, the bridges are slick.
Jennifer Trundy, ladies and gentlemen, a husband. I love the husband. I've never heard that before. That is good. Were you a Raiders fan, Jennifer? No? Any Raiders fans here? Woo! Of course, the drunk people in the front row.
27 years of suffering.
Yeah, actually, I was in LA for 22 years. My good friend Harris Pete, host of the Comedy Store, often had Raiders season tickets, and I would go to the game with him. And Raiders fans are pretty amazing. One year we were there, they banned all beer and alcohol because of fights.
Ooh.
Of course, that was the saddest day in your life, sir. But Harris and I are up in the nosebleed seats the next game after they banned beer and wine. And this Raider fan walks all the way up the steps. He has a little baby in one of the harnesses, you know what I'm talking about? He's patting the baby, cooing to the baby, sits down in front of us, proceeds to unscrew the baby's head. Sticking a straw and drink liquor for 3/4. That's a Raiders fan. One more time for Jennifer Trundy. Very funny stuff. All right, Portlanders. Our next comic is new to this country. His English is a work in progress, but he is an amazing speaker of English for just being here a short time from the country of China. And you need to laugh because the Communist Chinese Party is watching. And no, you're going to laugh anyway. He's wonderful. Please welcome Yufei Gao, ladies and gentlemen. Yufei.
So, yeah, okay, so you might notice my Norwegian, aka Chinese accent. And I'm Yufei, I come from China, and Carl keep trying to send me to Jeff's ESL classes because of the accents. And yeah, it is my 7th year in America, and I didn't have all the K-12 school in America. I miss all the fun, for example, like the football games, the sexual education, and maybe how to apply at university here. I miss all the fun here. And as a Chinese born student, our priority of life is all about food. However, in our high school, the snacks is prohibited. So everyone here must not have the fun of smuggling in the high school. So you can imagine the picture. Every hut, every handshake could be an exchange of Oreo or pickles. And the easiest way to start a school romantic relationship in China is by switching food. So you have some proposal to a lady or a young gentleman, say, hey, can I exchange your bubble tea with my Oreo? Okay, and then you need to look at the reaction. If she just say, I'm not interested on your small pickle. Okay, the conversation just ends. And there was also another subtle situation. If she's like hesitating, look around, do all the weird actions, and finally grab your food. Okay, then you might need to try a few more times. But if she just grabbed your snack without any hesitation, congratulations, that's true love. And that's the start of your teenager romantics. So as you can see, the priority of the Chinese is all about food. Food, delicious food, and we do try to get a good grade at school, do a good work, and get promotion, so that we can buy good food or hire somebody to cook a good food for us. I mean, Chinese people also have sex, but the only reason we have sex is because we couldn't guarantee we can still make food at the age of 18. we need to born someone to cook the food for us at the time. So, you know, the Chinese people, their sex is very efficient. Like all the dress up and dress down and have all the process within 2 minutes, maybe. I'm coming to 30 next week. And, you know, 30. For Chinese people, the thirsty is all about the food. You want to eat more food. You are always hungry. You want to eat 5 meals a day. But this is my 7th year in America, and I noticed people here have different definition about thirsty, all about sex. So, yeah, a classical American people, their day start with sex, and they just wake up with porn, sex, and they drive to work with all the sex, and in any places they could have sex, and drive home with another sex. They sleep with sex, and okay, they eat some food, but it's mostly about supplying energy for the sex tomorrow. Yeah. I tried to order some food in Portland. I tried to find some good Chinese food in Panda Express in Portland. But, you know, I ordered some orange chicken, but what I saw is a picture of Donald Trump. I also tried to order some sandwich with the white bread, the Russian dressing, all the bolognese with high peeled and a small pickle on the side, and they called Donald Trump sandwich. So yeah, the food is not good, at least for Chinese people here. But for here, I've been to a couple different cities in America, and I noticed very fun thing. Different people in different cities in America have their favorite place for having sex. So, for example, in New York, you know why they stop like playing the Phantom of the Opera? Just because people keep having sex in the theater. And And San Francisco, they just lose their Super Bowl last month, right? So they are going to change their name to 69ers. Just because they are so good at the 69 styles. And in Portland, if you probably could see all the shaking hand or the shaking Subaru in the I-5 and in Mount Hood, and that's how people having sex here. And as an Asian coming to 30, I'm still figuring out the right balance of my life. I hope you enjoy the night. Thank you.
Thank you, You big Al, ladies and gentlemen. I keep telling him we don't have that much sex. And he gave me an Oreo. So, I don't know. Keep it going for you, Fake Al. We have our dry cleaner is Mrs. Lee. She's from South Korea. Her English is not nearly as good as Yufei. She speaks a little English. She's very funny. Like Yufei, a couple months ago I had to take in jeans. They had a little red stain right here. I pointed out. She goes, "Is it the lipstick?" I saw something in Portland today and never seen, ever. I saw a car with Washington plates going the correct way down a one-way street. Anyone from Washington? I should ask. I will say this about them, and I mean this sincerely. Washington did something in 2012. No other state has done. Their voters on the same day in 2012 legalized gay marriage and pot. Give it up for the Washingtonians. Which just proves to the rest of the states, we were reading Leviticus incorrectly. It says if man lies with a man, he should be stoned. So. All right, let's continue. How about a hand for everybody in the show so far? We have 3 more acts who are terrific. If you'd like to take the class and have lots of sex, there's no sex involved, just talking about sex. PortlandComedy.com, you can sign up for classes. Joining us now, just a terrifically funny guy, wonderful man as well. Love to see him work. Please welcome Chad Harder, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Carl.
Well, I'd like to tell you all that I'm going to change the subject because, we've heard too much about sex, but my name is Chad Harder, so that's not going to happen. I hate to disturb you all, but I was not always an adult, and at some point I was a child. And as a child, I lived at the bottom of a mountain, and my friends and I would go up into the mountains and we would play in caves. And we found some very magical magazines in those caves. And we took those magazines and we had torn pages from National Geographics and from lingerie magazines. And we put them all together and created a pornocopia. In fact, I was kind of a 10-year-old Hugh Hefner at the time. But that got tiresome because I kept worrying about getting caught. And so I decided one day that I would take care of this. I would clean up my life at 10 years old. And I would go cold turkey from porn. And so I loaded everything that I had into this box. And I wrapped the box with packing tape. And then I dug a hole in the backyard, which as a 10-year-old in Spokane, Washington is not a weird thing. And so I put the porn down in my hole of shame and covered it up, and I was done. And I walked inside, and that should have been the end of my story. But the neighborhood dogs were watching. And so when I went inside, they did some excavating, and then they played tug-of-war with the box, and it was a windy day, and that created a bit of a tornado. And so there were shiny, bright teeth, and long legs and tits, and early 80s bush all over the neighborhood. And my mother came in and said, "Do you know anything about the naked pictures all over the neighborhood?" And I said, "Absolutely not." And then she handed me the piece of cardboard that still had some porn stuck to it, and it also had our address on it. So I was not so innocent, and it took hours of pulling bushes out of bushes to get my neighborhood clean. And so, yeah, fast forward a little bit past that, and I was dating during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Luckily, I asked and he told. So I had this great boyfriend, and when he would bring people home from the base, he would get on the phone and he would, in a very cryptic, secret tone, say, "Hey, could you straighten up the apartment?" Which meant taking all the Ace of Base CDs out of the CD player and all the porn and shove it, ironically, into his closet. So, yeah, there was that. We actually dated for a very long time, and every year we would go down to California to his very conservative family and for Thanksgiving. And at the end of this very long table with lots and lots of leaves added, through a gauntlet of straight siblings of his and all of their offspring, was his mom. And every year his mom would ask us, well, actually kind of tell us, "Oh, it's so sad that you boys will not give us a little grandchild. Oh no." And we were just, it was awful. It was just terrible that she would do this every year to my boyfriend. And so I got prepared. And the next year when we went, there in between the turkey and the dessert course was, "Oh, it's so sad, we'll never have a grandchild out of you." And I said, "You know, Mrs. Blasco, every single night, if it makes you feel better, we try to make you a grandchild. Sometimes we do it 2 or 3 times." And at that point, Mr. Blasco almost shot his Chardonnay out of his nose. And Mrs. Blasco never asked us about her grandchildren ever again. So I consider that a win. Yeah, so there's, I don't know if you know now, but I switched from being straight to being gay. So the being straight was just a phase. And so there's some terminology that straight people don't really know about the gay world. It's called the Gold Star Gay. And the Gold Star Gay is a person who has never dabbled in the world of straightness. I try to make that very PC and not naughty. But in the end, I was more of a Bronze Star Gay. Through lots of trauma and a really obsessive mom, I just wanted nothing to do with women. And so I became a Gold Star Gay. But my best friend, he is a Platinum Star Gay. He was born C-section. He never touched a vagina in his life. He avoided the whole thing. So now that you know my sexual history, I hope that you have a wonderful night. And I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Chad Harder, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gay. What's that? The last name named Harder. You know? One more time for Chad. As I mentioned, Gary and I met in '97, 27 years. I worried about getting him by my very Republican conservative mother in Florida. And we first flew down there in '98. And first of all, my mother so Republican. I mean, I would go down and visit her. She would accidentally bleach my Obama t-shirt, so I set fire to her Glenn Beck Christmas sweater. That's what I did. That's our relationship. But so Gary and I went down there, we're at the table, and she looks over at us, she goes, now which one of you is gay? And I'm like, this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought. Which she followed up with, well, we didn't have homosexuals in the 1950s. I said, well, somebody put the fins in those Cadillacs. Somebody did those beehive hairdos, lady. We have a very good friend, Jenny, who's a lesbian. She also has a right-wing mother in Florida. She came out to her mother, and her mother said, what's next, Jenny? Heroin? Lesbianism, the gateway drug. One more time for Chad Harder, who worked on it. Really good job. Yeah, good job. Our next performer, and Jeff Etz, are you ready soon? Jeff will be on. Are you? The drunks. I love the drunks. Are you related to Jeff?
Yes!
Sorta.
Okay, you're all related. Okay, good.
We were in the 80s.
I feel like I'm back in Arkansas, you know? It's like, have you been to Arkansas?
No.
Oh, you will see. You ever been there, sir? I saw a 12-year-old girl in Arkansas smoking right in front of her children. It was just the worst. All right, our next performer, also sublimely funny. Please welcome Mike Schreiber. Bring him up. Mike Schreiber. Mike! Love that hat, baby.
Hi, I'm Mike, yeah. You may have seen me before, I don't know. Something, you may notice that something is different. I've added something to my act. Somebody said I should add props to my act, so I decided to wear a hat. And it's working very well. I was in a coffee shop recently, and they were playing music on the system, and one song ended, and another song started. And in my head, all I could think of was, no, the next song is supposed to be Going Down to Liverpool by the Bangles. And I realized I had this playlist in my head from an old mixtape. There's a bunch of us of this, certain age. We're just, have all these playlists in our head, and we're forever condemned to go around just forever objecting to the next song. Like, no, the next song is Groove is in the Heart. But I always had different, those are fairly popular songs. I always had different musical tastes, for my friends. When I was real little in the 60s and 70s, I was real little in the 60s, and then I was a little older, but but when I was real little, my friends would be listening to like Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith. I was listening to Cher. I said another time when I was here that I didn't have hardly anything on the gay punch card, but I forgot about Cher. I left her off. But I can't really color her in completely on the punch card because I don't care about the gowns and the hair. I just like her singing. And I also got something else wrong on the punch card when I talked about that before. I said Will and Grace is on the punch card. And I was told later, no, that's wrong. It's Sex and the City that's on the punch card. And we're all supposed to know whether we're Samantha's or one of the other ones, and I don't even know, I don't know what any of that means. But back to Cher. I was told by my mother that when I was a little kid, in the 60s, one of her songs would come on, and I would just dance around, You Better Sit Down, Kids. Real oldie would come on, and she said I'd be dancing around. I don't know how you dance to You Better Sit Down, Kids, but apparently I managed to do it. Bang Bang, She Shot Me Down would come on. I'd be dancing around. You'd think my mother would have gotten some idea from this of what was to come. but she never caught on. You know, a few years later, well, quite a few years later, I had come out and I moved to Houston, and I had a straight friend, a really good friend, and I went to his house, to a party at his house, and I didn't really know anybody. And, you know, I'm going around meeting people, and after a while, people would start coming up to me. Somebody said, "You're Mike, aren't you? I heard you were gay." And, you know, I said, "Well, yes I am, you know." And then after another little while, you know, I'd go introduce myself. "Hi, I'm Mike." And so I said, "Oh, yes, you're gay, aren't you?" You know, yes I am. And I realized, you know, my friend was over in the far end of the room, and he was pointing me out, saying, "That's my friend Mike, he's gay." And I realized that I was his gay trophy friend. And he was just going around telling everybody, you know, "Oh, go say hi to my gay friend Mike." And I looked around the room, and I realized I wasn't the only trophy friend he had, because I looked around the room and there was one person of color, there was one Native American, I was the token gay. It was like a Republican convention. So some years after that, I was on a cross-country train trip when I lived on the East Coast. And it was like the business car. There wasn't hardly anybody in it, but there was this one guy 3 seats above, you know, in front of me, and he's on his phone, and he's just going, "I'm on the train. It's so relaxing. I've never been so relaxed. I'm getting in Saturday. Are you picking me up? I hope you have enough room for my stuff. I think I overpacked." And this just went on, and we've been, you know, through Ohio, through Pennsylvania. They're still going on, you know. "So what's been happening? How are the kids? Are they getting on your nerves? You should take a train trip. They're so relaxing." It was like taking a cross-country train trip with Gilbert Gottfried. In character the whole time. I get hurt a lot. The last time I was here, I'd have to pull the microphone with me when I turned. Last time I was here, I was using a cane, and luckily I don't need it tonight, but I get injured all the time. I thank you. I'm glad you're happy about that. I'm glad this is a funny subject. But it works out since I'm supposed to be being funny. It's just very, very handy. Anyway, I think I rented the only apartment in Portland that has an actual trap door that you fall through. I was cleaning my closet and emptying it out, and I just walked and whooped right through. Scraped up my leg terribly. Another time, in another place I lived, I was in the attic, doing something in the attic, and I just fell right through to the apartment below. And the people in the apartment below saw this, and they said I looked like the coyote in the Roadrunner cartoon. You know, I was just hanging there like waiting to fall, and then I fell. Another time, I was just sitting on my bed, and I just stood up, and I hurt my calf. And that one really impressed the doctor. I went in, you know, and he said, "Well, how'd you hurt your leg?" I said, "I stood up." And that's really something, but he's gotten really blasé now about these various injuries. I'll go in, and he doesn't even, you know, he just expects me something. I went in the last time, I had this cane, and I went in, I had the cane, and he's like, you know, yeah, no, I see you got a cane there. Okay, how's your blood pressure? Yeah, you doing good? You taking your meds? Yeah. You had that cane, huh? Okay, well, be careful on your way out. So he's, you know, He's just used to it all. The other thing I've learned over time, that where I get hurt, is not to run to catch a bus. I was on the Burnside one night. It was nighttime, it was dark, and I was walking toward the bus stop, and I saw the bus come. And I started running to catch it. And I didn't realize that I was at a curb. And I just went plop right into the street. And I'm okay now though. So I was laying there in the street, and I fell on this hand, and it was just all mangled. It looked much worse than, so it looked like this. So the hand's all mangled, and I'm laying there, and I looked up, and the bus was coming, and I looked up, and it wasn't the right bus. So I just kind of waved goodbye with my hand. I was like, just keep going. No, you're not the bus I want. So I eventually sort of collected myself and, got up. My hand is still like this. And the ambulance came to take me to the hospital. And I showed the EMT my hand. And he didn't really say anything about it. He just said, "Are you Mike? I heard you were gay." Thank you.
Mike Driver, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, Mike Driver. All right. I know 3 gays in a row. Before I was married, that was my Saturday night. Oh my God. One of the things I like to teach my students, visuals are a big part of stand-up. You can paint a picture, like with the bus and the possum. Always paint the picture. I think this is the example I use with visual. And I never saw, I was late 80s, working the Catalina Comedy Club in Avalon, California, and a young guy opened for me. He was just out to LA. Never seen him since, but this was his best joke. He said he just got to LA, young guy, out of college, got a kitten. And the kitten went into heat. And he didn't know what to do. There's no internet then, so he got a book from the library and read that when the kitten goes into heat, you're supposed to simulate sex with a Q-tip. He said, that's not the hard part. The hard part is strapping the Q-tip to your waist. That's a visual, ladies and gentlemen. You will not soon forget it. Never heard from him again. I'm sure he got a lot of pussy in Hollywood. Keep it going for everybody on the show so far. We have so much fun in class, and YouTube can be up here. PortlandComedy.com is the place to sign up. And I would thank all my former students, Casey Hansen and Grace Nishida and Calvin Jennings. I'm sure there are others who are here, a graduate of the program. And thank you all for showing up and supporting your now fellow comics. And who else? Oh.
I count as 2, I'm big enough.
Thank you, Calvin. Calvin is really, really funny. He's going to take the class again, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, PortlandComedy.com.
When do these classes start?
Oh, they start on the week of April 15th. So if you're pissed about taxes, take the edge off. Come and join the week of April 15th. And it's just a wonderful experience. We just have a wonderful time in class, and you can see the results. People just enjoying putting laughter into the world, which we need, right? We all need it. Coming to the stage now, you know the Jefferts. Please welcome the man himself, Jeff O'Malley, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. I know what you're thinking. Finally, a straight dude, right? I mean, what are the odds, huh? A spontaneous joke. I mean, I was thinking, right? I mean, come on. Beautiful crowd though, right? Look at this. I mean, so happy. I feel supported. Very supported. This is what happens when you work at a school. Okay? Yes. And you marry into a Latin family. I'm like looking around, wait a minute. Coworker, in-law, in-law, coworker. Actually, ex-coworker. He was fired. No, it's only a joke. You can't get fired from public school. A lot of good comics though, right? Classmates, pretty funny, huh? Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm like secretly competitive, you know? So like I practice at home every night in front of a live audience of just one. She's really a good dog though, really good dog. Mrs. T-Berry never really listened, but she's hearing these punchlines. Who's a good girl? But through these classes I have learned that comparison is the thief of joy, okay? Because when I compare myself to the best, I make myself feel worse, you know? And then when I compare myself to the worst, my wife makes me feel worse. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that would work. Why would you compare yourself to Steve down the street? I don't know, because I heard he never put the seat down. I finally got the job I'm qualified for, where I had all the answers, okay? During the day, I teach English as a second language, right? And for those of you looking to get into teaching, ooh. Let me regroup. Those of you looking to get out of teaching, yeah, look at that, raise the roof. Teaching ESL is it's the most satisfying, you know, because after I welcome students to American education, after that, effectively, I'm never wrong, okay? I mean, I can only screw up if I forget the names of things, okay? It's like, boys and girls, what's this? Oh, ooh, close. No, that's not a house. That's a carrot. Okay. Oh, what? Sure. Computer, door, table, chair. What else you got? I can do this all day. Hey, but I get why no one wants to get into education these days. You know, it's tough, especially with like these cell phones and all, right? I mean, no one's paying attention. They really aren't. Like, see a couple teen boys back there right now, not listening. This is terrible. Look at them. It's back there going like this. What's he talking about? I don't know. I think Daddy's doing jokes. And I get it. Even in the classroom, it is worse. All right, much worse. Because this tech addiction thing is for real. In the classroom, nobody's working. Okay? Because at the end of the class, my phone's dead. Okay? This non-millennial's addicted to that damn thing too. All right? Can't wait to get off stage right now. Yeah, what else is perfect? I'm middle-aged, right? I'm a middle-aged non-millennial, which means I'm raising children becoming adults and parents becoming children. Okay? Anybody else in here raising a parent? That's right. My people. Hey, don't worry. I'm thinking about starting a support group where I take this responsibility to another sibling. How come there's never any sibling rivalry on who gets to take mom to all the appointments? And run all the errands? And oh God, listen to all the stories? It never quite goes like this, does it? Yeah, this year, I'm taking mom to Dr. Jackson all year long. Oh yeah, and she and I, every weekend, we're going to Costco. Oh yeah, and the story about the neighbor's dog, Foo-Foo, shitting her lawn, I'll be listening to that all the time. Never sounds like that, does it? So, I'm going to be doing some mom humor tonight, all right? Which is tough, you know, because I love my mom. But I also love your mama jokes. Yeah, everyone loves a your mama joke, right? I did some market research. All generations love the your mama joke. Except some boomers, all right? So if you're not familiar, it's a very basic formula. There's an insult and then a massive exaggeration. Bring up the speed, I wrote an original one just now, just so you can be equally as cultured. Your mama's so stupid, she thought working for Amazon was giving river tours. All right. I'll trim off the other 99. But my mama's not fat, stupid, or ugly. The juvenile triple threat, right? To our beloved mamas. But she is 90, Japanese, and driving. Oh, she's on the roads, okay? She's on the roads. Not long ago, she said to me, Jeffy. That's how she says Jeffrey, it's not a nickname. She's 4'6" and doesn't speak much English, settle down. All right. She said to me, Jeffy, I can still drive because I have heart of samurai. True story. Problem though, I called Geico. No samurai discounts. And so it hasn't deterred her. So if you see what you think is a gray driverless Prius with a bunch of dents under that dashboard is my mama. I suggest upon sight, you just treat it like an ambulance.
Just pull over.
Go heckling, stealing punchlines. What the heck? Scary. Just treat it like an ambulance, that's right. Just like this. Oh yeah, I gotta pick up dog food. I see Carol this weekend. Is that a gray wig driving that thing? Oh! Jeff warned me about this. Your son's hilarious. Sadly though, not too long ago, there was an accident. Yep. My mama got run over. Yeah. a car ran over her foot and crushed it. Yeah, true story. I just couldn't believe, though, that my mama ran over herself. She pushed her own car, couldn't stop it, and it rolled over her foot. She was the cause and the effect. It was a hit, and she couldn't run. She kamikaze her own foot. And when the policeman called me, right, he said the damage was bad, there were dents everywhere, and it looked totaled. The Prius was fine, though. I love that joke, sorry. And since my mom doesn't speak much English, you know, I know how the police report went. Ma'am, what was the color of the car that ran you over? This color. Ma'am. What did the person look like that ran you over? Like this. Ma'am, did you get a license plate? From DMV. Here's the good news. Here's the good news. My mama healed up, and she's still driving. Mom O'Malley, still driving. Me crazy. What's amazing about school is that it's so seminal. And do you know that most adults still have dreams about their childhood experience? Yeah, right? Kind of never stops. And I had a dream last night, actually a nightmare. 5 bullies. I have a dream about bullies all the time because I hate bullies. They ruin school for people. But these 5 bullies tried to take my lunch money. And they were no ordinary bullies. They were celebrities. Monday morning, my bully approaches me and tries to take my lunch money. And it's none other than the 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama. Well, Jeff, as a biracial person of color, I consider you an Asian American brother. But the Republicans, not so much. I think we all got to pay the piper and do our part. And as your bully,
That's your bully.
give me your goddamn lunch money. This bully nightmare keeps going. It's Tuesday now, and now it's very embarrassing. Because my bully is none other than the mother of the longest standing television animation in history. Yeah, Marge Simpson. I know this isn't easy because my special little guy, Bart, has a bully, Nelson. So I think we should just make the best of it and maybe make lemonade. Could you just give me your lunch money? So optimistic, even as a bully. Now it's Wednesday, and my Wednesday bully is here. The nightmare's just getting worse. Because this bully was making demands. It's It's none other than our 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton. Jeff, I'm sorry to have to do this to you, but why does anyone do what they do? Because they can. So I'm going to have to demand your lunch money. However, in place of that, you could introduce me to your sister. Why does he want to meet her? Now it's Thursday. The bullies are getting worse. Worse, worse, worse. They're like boss battles in a video game. My Thursday bully is none other than the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, Iron Mike Tyson. I'm the former, undisputed heavyweight champ of all time. And we could do this the easy way or the hard way. Because everyone got a plan until they get hit with a haymaker. So what's it gonna be? Give me that lunch money now, huh? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be, huh? You want next week's too? Now it's Friday. The biggest bully of all time is here and needs no introduction. I'm looking for a little guy, a little Asian guy. When I saw him, I said, wow, he's little. I'm gonna take his lunch money. I'm gonna take his all his lunch money. It's gonna be an amazing deal for me. So amazing. It's gonna be so amazing. I'm gonna get all his lunch money. He kind of looks like the mayor of Wuhan. He might give me the virus. He might give me the virus. But I already beat the virus. He wants to give me the virus. I beat all the viruses. Shut up. I'm not giving you my lunch money. Not all Asians are the same. And why do you talk like that? I'm Jeff O'Malley, everybody.
Jeff O'Malley, ladies and gentlemen. What do you say, Jeff? That's good? Hand over your lunch money on the way out. You know, it is really, stand-up's not easy. It is easy for people who take to it naturally, like my students, but putting yourself out there on stage, as these folks did tonight, it really takes some courage. Give them all a round of applause. Really. And I'd like to bring them all up on stage for a final curtain call. Ed Long, ladies and gentlemen, come up. Ed Long, Jennifer Grundy, Jennifer, UK Dow, ladies and gentlemen. Chad Harder, please come on up. Mike Schreiber, and Jeff O'Malley, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. These are very challenging times for all of us, and there's nothing more important than putting humor into the world. It helps us all. Thank you so much for coming. If you're interested in taking classes or just seeing any of the great shows here, improv shows, stand-up shows, portlandcomedy.com. Give them one more round of applause. And thanks for coming out tonight.
I think the show was a little long.
Are you done?